Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. My name is Derek Horn, and I'm the director of the Meadows Jazz Orchestra, Meadows Jazz Combo, or whatever we are at the time. Tonight, we're the Meadows Jazz Combo. We're so happy you're here with us. I wanted to take just a minute to, first of all, thank all of our parents who have students here or relatives of students. Thank you so much that you send your student here with us. These young people in this band have worked so hard to present what you're going to hear tonight. And trust me, they've been challenged. I think you will hear the challenge in the music, but they've worked hard to make this happen. So we're grateful to you. I'd also like to say, always like to thank people because we don't do this in a bubble. It takes so many people to help us do things. I'd like to thank our dean. I'd like to thank our Division of Music Chair, Dr. Keck. And I'd like to thank Lucius, who's running the sound for us and the streaming and recording. He's up there over just a little bit. Thank you, Lucius. And I also want to take a moment to remember a great friend of ours and a great friend of the university in Meadows, a gentleman by the name of David Brown. He was our piano technician, among other things, and he always made sure we had great pianos, and he helped Meadows to run. So he recently passed away, and we want to call his name in this space because he helped us so much. We want to thank Operations and John Bryant. I don't know if he's here, who teaches our drummers. Also, Mr. Don Fabian and all of our applied instructors. So, if you look at this program, it is not in order of what we're going to be playing. This program went through some strangeness, is about the most I can tell you. This has never happened, but it just some kind of way got all over the place. And it just, I guess you would say that's my fault, but please don't say it. So the songs are not in order. I'm about to tell you what they are, and then we're going to have the band come out and play. The first song we're going to play is a song entitled Indiana that was arranged by our good friend and former dean of Meadows, Dr. Jose Bowen, and I don't see him here tonight. He did a few of these songs. The second song we're going to play is something called Pat and Turn. That comes from when I was a young kid growing up in East Texas, when I would ask my mom to take me somewhere, because, I came up in an era where the kids would just go across town somewhere. We'd be all over the place. Hey, Mom, will you take me over here? No, pat and turn. Mom, what does that mean? Pat your feet and turn the corner. So she was telling me to walk where I wanted to go. And I think of these things with my mom quite a lot. The third song that we're going to play is entitled Cherokee. And we're going to feature someone on vocals with this. It's kind of a samba version. It turns into a swing. The next thing that we're going to play is a piece called Jocolation, which again is a piece written by Dr. Bowen. And the last thing that we're going to play the next to last thing we're going to play is The Age of Endings, which is something that I wrote. And then we're going to play Armando's Rumba, which was written by the great Chick Corea. So thank you so much for coming. We're so glad you're here. We believe you're going to have a good time. And if you would, please, welcome to the stage, your Meadows Jazz Combo.
Because her part line on that particular tune. Unless it was nice. She's gonna do it probably one more time.
Did the director tell you to chill?
Where? Like
On all of them?
as opposed to shake?
Yeah.
I just did that because I'm lazy.
Well, honestly, like you're playing however many concerts this week.
I didn't feel like trying to work out those shakes. So I just and like I got the saxophone next to me.
Yeah. Well, I think on the first one, there was another one.
The what?
Should have been.
Like was it Cherokee? Yeah, because that was on a high C. I was like,
Yeah, that's what it's for. Don't listen to me. I don't have a degree.
and I'm not a jazz person. Glad you'll have fun.
You sound good, man. Well, all these your people. I can't remember who I met before. I know I met some. Well, thank y'all for coming.
I think we went through all the ones he said, and now
What I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I said, a word for that. It is a word. I would agree with that. I have not heard a conclusion. Yeah, there's an organ. I guess the old one. Is that his church? So that Northward Mountains. And that organ, I don't know if it's out of tune or what. Well, I'm already like, organs. And then it doesn't. Oh, wow. And that was surely good. Not if you're paying $112. Free. Yeah. Well, I think TI.
A second, like another one, like two. I mean, and then like from last year. Like two this year too.
Kind of nice. I just don't know why. You don't spend a lot of time there. Yeah, but then you get people that are like, I'm gonna find out when it is so kind of sick on those days. And people who get sick on Friday.
Hey,
Hey,
Megan asked if you're doing anything after, because no one's there.
There's not nobody there. I'm sure George is there.
No, she said nobody's here.
just heard me.
I know.
It's a really-
What'd you say?
Just heard me.
Yeah, just heard you.
Yeah. So long as my Uber driver, I'm good. Which one? No. Well, that was
Then he plays the piano. You know those like pieces of music century performed? You heard about that? Or there's something that I think there's like a church that like a song that's written by like God. But the whole point is that it takes like centuries. So the organ in this church has been playing one note for like forever. And then like every decade or so it changes notes. It's art. I thought you find something like that.
Okay. I always learn so much when I go hang out backstage with these people, man. I learn all kinds of stuff. So, the first thing I'd like to do, speaking of these fine people, is to introduce them. Because some kind of way, there were things that went on. This program does not adequately or properly do what we needed. So I'm just going to start on the end on trumpet. We have Miss Lily Whittier. Then on trombone and vocals, Miss Lily Whittier. On trombone and vocals, we have Mr. Kyle Husby. Also on trombone and maybe vocals some other time, we have Mr. Kyle Easley. And on alto and tenor saxophone, and I don't know if he can sing, Mr. Drake Henry. And on trumpet, we have Mr. Brandon Richardson, who you'll hear from. I'm really proud of our drum corps. Our drummers have been excellent. If you notice how they're playing the room, and I didn't say anything to them about that. It's just become a thing with them where they work hard to make this work. So I really have a lot of appreciation for both of them. Right now on drums, we have Mr. Daniel Klein. And we have, he's not playing for a while, so he didn't come in. We have Mr. Max Whitaker as well. On the bass, we have Morgan Lee. And on the piano, we have Mr. Tom Curson. So, let me tell you what we're going to play. The next in order this is not in order. We're going to start this set with a piece called Between Two Opinions. I don't really know what that means anymore. It just, something happened and I decided that was the right title. And then we're going to do a horn section piece. The proper name is not actually to call it a brass quintet, because I mean it's a little different because of our instrumentation. But we're going to do a horn section piece that features different pieces of music written by or produced by Quincy Jones. For some of us, we might know a couple of these. People my age will almost pick out every melody. Yes, I see you there, in glasses. So this is a fun piece. Now, I will tell you there is something missing out of here, and it's from a movie called The Wiz. There's a piece called Ease On Down the Road that you will also hear in here. This was really fun to do. I hope you enjoy that. And then we're going to feature Mr. Husby and Miss Whittier on a piece called They Can't Take That Away From Me. So if you would, please, welcome back to the stage, your Meadows Jazz Combo.
way you wear your hat, the way you sip your tea, the memory of all that. No, no, they can't take that away from me. The way you smile just beams, the way you sing off key, the way you haunt my dreams. No, no, they can't take that away from me. We may never, never meet again on that bumpy road to love. Still, I'll always, always keep the memory of
The way you hold your knife, the way we danced till 3, the way you changed my life. Oh no, no, they can't take that away from me. No, they can't take that away from me. The way you wear your hat, the way you sip your tea, the memory of all that. No, no, they can't take that away from me. The way your smile just beams, the way you sing off key, the way you haunt my dreams. Oh no, they can't take that away from me. We may never, never meet again on that bumpy road to love. Still, I'll always, always keep the memory of
the way you hold your knife, the way we danced till 3, the way you changed my life. No, no, they can't take that away from me. No, they can't take that away from me. No, they can't take that away from me.
My mind is still blown at that whole situation right there, still. sometimes people come in and they say, hey, can I try this? Sure. And it doesn't work. That has happened in the past, long in the past. But sometimes they come in and they say, hey, I'd like to try this, and then you hear it and you're like, wow. You know, didn't they do an amazing job? Amazing. So we did do, the Meadows Jazz Combo and Orchestra did do a record. It's been a few years back, and it turned out really well. And we had some celebrity presence on it. It was a good record. And we're gonna start recording some stuff again and making the videos available on YouTube. And we have to have some of this vocal stuff going on because it's just amazing. It's been a really nice touch to add to what we do. This part is always like the toughest part of every spring concert for me. As I was getting up out of my chair, I was thinking about that and about the fact that I always get too comfortable in these chairs and I didn't want to fall. And then you guys all get to laugh at me. And then I was like, well, you haven't fallen yet. But yes, I did once. Not in here, in the other auditorium. I took a big fall and everybody was gone, so I got to play it off. But this is always, for one reason or another, one of the tougher parts for me, because we come in here at the beginning of every semester not knowing necessarily what we will have instrumentation-wise. And I have to walk in literally the first day and go, and it's literally been like this. Oh, we got a bassoon, and we got somebody playing a cello, a horn and F, or a French horn for some, and a flute. And then you were here, and a trombone.
Weird, man.
Yeah. And so I walk in the first day, you know, I look at my enrollments before, but it's like maybe somebody dropped or something. And we have to come in and make jazz out of this and, you know, go home and be like, hey man, what can we start writing so that this makes sense? Well, it makes for a weird semester because we don't always have music like as early as we want to, because a lot of the stuff I have to write it because it doesn't exist. I can't go buy it. You know, I can't buy music, jazz music for a cello, bassoon, flute, trombone. Yeah, and so it's been a blessing to me because it's made me better. I can't tell you how glad I am I get to do this. It's made me so much better at so much stuff. So these students come in, and I know it gets frustrating. You know, when it's like, hey, throw your old version of this in the trash, here's a new version. You know, and we have all these things that go on because we try to write good music and find good things. And I hope you feel that tonight. Well, you know, everybody that comes in here comes and works hard, man. I mean, we work really hard and we play really hard when we goof off together. And you get to know people that way. And then they get ready to graduate. And it's sad because it's like, you know, your friend is, you know, you're the teacher, but this is jazz, so we're just friends, you know. And it's like, man, your friend is going away. So this is a tough part. I'd like to celebrate we have 3 people departing this year, and I don't know where to start because they're all awesome. I'm just gonna do it. First of all, both these 2 guys are leaving. Would you stand? We have Mr. Drake Henry on the saxophone. Mr. Brandon Richardson. They are both leaving, and they have done wonderfully. Thank you so much. And Max, where's Max? Max, would you please come in? Max. I cannot tell you how, as a matter of fact, if you got to see posters about this around the campus, it was called The Proud Show. The Proud Show, because I'm really proud of all of our students. But you 3 that are leaving us, man, we're gonna miss you. We love you.
Prof, I think we got someone else leaving us.
Ooh.
I'm graduating.
Brought it up. Man, Mr. Kyle Husby, would you stand? Look what we got left. If you're left, raise your hand. Man, we are losing four of the finest people and musicians. Thank you so much. So I'm not gonna drag it out. You can grab your seats. So what we're gonna do now, so I didn't have anything. Well, you got some feature stuff. But it's a tradition for me whenever someone's graduating, I try to find something that shows them off. You know, so they get to, it's like whatever they want to do. If I can write it, you do it. I don't care, because you put in the time here, sometimes 4 years, sometimes 2. We've had people go longer, you know, however long you've been here. We want to celebrate you. And we're going to start kind of our little party here celebrating our exiting members with a piece that is called, we're going to start with By the Fire, which is going to feature Brandon, and then we're going to play an arrangement of Lovely Day, which will feature Drake, and then we're going to wrap this thing up with a piece called Juke Boppin'. A silly title, but it doesn't exist, so that's why I picked it. I try to pick titles that don't exist. Juke Boppin', and that is going to feature Mr. Max Whitaker. On behalf of myself, all of our teachers here, instructors, and everybody, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for being here tonight. And we hope to see you next time. Be careful going home. If you take pictures, please send them to somebody so we can keep up with them. So thank you again so much. It's been a joy having you here, and I hope you've had a great time. Thank you. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.